Hi, welcome back to reading. All right, we are on the second week of reading. We are going to read these two stories this week, and our opener is How Are Families Around the World the Same and Different? So let's go ahead and get that started. Okay, so they might look different, they might act different, and this is going to go kind of over some things that you might learn this week. So let's go ahead and start it.
Families around the world. How are families around the world the same and different? Families around the world celebrate fall. In the United States, some families enjoy going on hayrides together. Other families pick pumpkins or apples. In the fall in China, families celebrate the Chinese Moon Festival by eating delicious moon cakes and by making beautiful paper lanterns. It is an amazing sight when these lanterns fill the night sky. What family traditions from other places do you know about?
Okay, so now I want you to think about what are some traditions that you know about that are from all around the world, and how are they different from your own traditions? Okay, so we're going to go over our vocabulary words for the week. We're only going to do the first half, so we're only going to do 4 words today. Our first word is aside. Word is aside. When things are put aside, they are removed to one side. So here, Juan moves aside his books on the shelf to find one he likes. I could also use aside in a sentence and saying, I put aside some paper so that I could work with it later. Our second word for this week is culture. All right, so culture, people of the same culture share the same way of life at a certain time in history. At Chinese New Year, we learn about our culture. Okay, so you could say my culture might be different from your culture. All right, our next word is fair. All right, I am fair when I treat my friends in a just and honest way. So an example would be, Mom cut this cake so that we all got our fair share. I could say a sentence is, it's not fair if I give you a prize and I don't give your brother or sister a prize. And our last word for today is invited. When people are invited, they are asked to come. An example is, I invited some friends to my birthday party. I could also say, I had a friend invite me to go along with them on a trip. For our last part of reading today, what I need you to do is either grab a whiteboard or a piece of paper, or just try to remember the story from today, because your job is to visualize. Remember, that's play a picture in your head. I want you to think about what you're visualizing as I read your story to you today. All right, so this is our story. It's called Dinner at Alejandro's, and you can see they're just still pictures. I have 4 of them, or maybe it's 3. I have 4 of them that I'll read the story to you, and your job is to picture it in your head to make that movie of the story. All right. Alejandro's family came from Argentina. Tommy's mom said as she dropped him off at Alejandro's house, they speak Spanish and may cook foods from different countries. Watch and listen. You will learn a lot. I will, Tommy promised. The boys practiced soccer in the backyard until Mrs. Salas called them for dinner. Tommy didn't tell Alejandro that he was worried about eating food that was different from what they ate at home. He thought about the tasty roast beef and the mashed potatoes his mom had made. He thought about her spaghetti and her meatballs, too. What would he do different? What would he do if he didn't like the food, he wondered. He did not wish to offend the Salas family. Tommy can sit next to me, Alejandro's grandfather said. He understood that Tommy was as nervous about trying new foods as he was. I live in Argentina, and the United States can be confusing, he said. We will help each other. I'm Alejandro's abuela, abuelo, Alejandro's grandfather told Tommy. Abuelo is a Spanish word for grandfather. Alejandro calls me abuelo, and you can call me abuelo too. as Alejandro's mother placed a plate of salad on the table. His grandfather asked if the boys had fun practicing football. Tommy wanted to tell him that they had practiced soccer, but Alejandro replied, "It was fun. In Argentina, this game is known as football. In the United States, we call it soccer." Football or soccer, as you call it, is the national game of Argentina, Alejandro's grandfather explained as he smiled at Tommy. Tommy was happy to see the salad and a plate of bread on the table. He liked salad and bread. Alejandro's dad moved the bread dish aside to make room for a gigantic bowl of steaming yellow rice, overflowing with shrimp and other foods. Tommy watched carefully. "Have you ever eaten this kind of rice?" asked Abuelo. "I like rice, Abuelo, but this rice looks different," said Tommy. "Different foods can be delicious. This colorful rice dish is called paella. It has shrimp, mussels, and a sausage called cortaz, peas, red peppers, and other vegetables in it." "I like both shrimp and vegetables," Tommy whispered. "I like sausage too." Tommy listened, but it was hard to remember all the new words he was learning. When it was time to eat, Alejandro's abuelo served the food. The plates were stacked in front of him. "Tommy is our guest," he said, "so I will start with him. What will you have, Tommy?" Tommy glanced around the table. Everyone was waiting for him to choose the foods he wanted to eat, but he couldn't remember the word for the main dish. What could he do? Abuelo touched his arm gently. "Watch me and listen," he said. He leaned forward and he studied the dishes. "I will have some paella, por favor." "Por favor" means please, Tommy. Tommy listened. Alejandro's abuelo pretended to scoop some paella into his plate. "Gracias," Abuelo said. "Gracias" means thank you. "Now I will have some salad, por favor." I'll have a piece of pan, or bread, and a little of that," Abuelo waved his hand over the bread and another dish. Tommy watched and noticed that Abuelo did not point at the food. He moved his whole hand over the food that he wanted. "And now for our guest," Alejandro's abuelo said. "What would you like, Tommy?" "You can just say, 'I'll have a little of everything,'" Abuelo whispered to Tommy. "Gracias. But I'd like to try the words," he told Abuelo. "I'll try a little paella, por favor, and some salad." He waved his hand over the bread dish, "and a piece of pan." And everyone's plate was ready. Tommy tried a little of everything. All of it was tasty, but the paella was scrumptious. "Gracias, Abuelo," Tommy said. "It's fun to try new things and learn new words." "It's just as much fun teaching them," said Tommy. Okay, so that is our story for today. It's a read aloud, and we will do these usually on Monday. So your job is to write down what you visualized in your head as I was reading the story to you today. And that's all you're going to turn in for reading today. All right, bye, boys and girls.